Hey, family, and welcome back to Women's Heart Podcast, where we explore faith, inspiration, and personal growth. Come along with us as I embark on an engaging discussion with a dynamic coach focusing on leadership and resilience. Our esteemed guest today is dedicated to empowering women in the workforce, igniting their potential for excellence. Prepare to be inspired and uplifted by her wisdom, her true wisdom and insight. Stay tuned, for you are about to receive your blessing through this conversation. Hi, and welcome back to a Woman's Heart Podcast, a podcast that is full of what I like to say faith, inspiration, and personal growth. I'm so excited you're joining us for another empowering message because today we have on a guest on the show, Angela Harris. Now, Angela's mission is to help Black women strategically navigate the corporate landscape, fostering visibility, value, and promote opportunities. And through her intuitive coaching approach, she brings clarity, direction, and positive support, empowering her clients to enhance performance, develop leadership skills, and drive success for themselves and their organizations. Angela's dynamic speaking style, enriched with real-life examples and stories, captivates diverse audiences on topics ranging from leadership and teamwork and innovation and resilience. She is the host of a podcast show, F.L.O.W, which stands for Fearlessly Leading Our Way, where she uses her platform to amplify the voices of Black women leaders, sharing their stories and insights. And beyond her coaching practices, she has so many other initiatives she's working on. Angela's impact extends to community service, where she champions diversity and empowerment initiatives. So think of me as your chief encouragement officer, setting the stage to delve into Angela's journey of how she took her passion and became an award-winning coach, technologist, philanthropist with over 2 decades of experience in Fortune 500 companies. Welcome to the show, Angela.
Thank you so much for having me, Edna.
Oh, it's my pleasure. We're happy you could join us, and we're looking forward to you sharing some of your gold nuggets and wisdom with us on the show today, and tell us about your attire as well. So what we'd love to do is just jump right on in. I would love for you to tell me who you are and what makes you get up in the morning.
Well, first and foremost, I'm a woman of God. I'm a native Washingtonian. I'm a giver, and I'm a champion of women. And what makes me get up in the morning is my drive to make the workplace a better space for women, in particular Black women.
Black women in tech, is that right?
Yes,
Just
Black
to be
women in
more
tech, but also
specific,
Black
yeah,
women in general,
in
because I feel
general.
like this year, Black women in the workplace are really under attack. We saw what happened
Yeah.
with Dr. Claudine Gay. We saw
Yes.
the emotional interview with Taraji Henson regarding pay equity.
Yes.
So
Yes.
the Black women experience is very intersectional.
Yeah, I agree with you wholeheartedly. So with that said, how did your background in technology and leadership inform your coaching practice, particularly in helping clients navigate the corporate landscape? Tell us a little bit about your journey there and why you decided to get into coaching.
Well, it has certainly been a journey. And when I look back on my corporate life and my corporate experience, I feel like I needed a me when I was navigating my career. Sadly, I didn't have supportive managers for a good portion of my career. And I've also worked in toxic work environments. So with that, I've always had to take control and ownership of my career, which is something that we should do as professionals in general, but I never had the support and guidance of my management. And very early in my career, I did not have mentorship. So as I was navigating those toxic and sometimes unsupportive situations, I had to navigate that just with the best that I knew how to do at the time.
Right,
So
try
I'm
to figure
taking
it
all
out.
those lessons learned now and transferring that into my coaching business.
Which is awesome. And now you can help other women so they don't have to struggle in those areas or walk on the same landmines, so you can guide
Absolutely.
them.
And not have the support while they're
Mhm.
dealing with it too, because oftentimes I didn't have the support either.
Right, right. And that's hard. It's difficult because you think and me being a Black woman in tech, understanding that you could feel like you're in it by yourself sometimes. And lots of times you are. There's
Yeah.
no one you can talk to or pull up on management or anything. You just have to kind of figure it out on your own, basically.
Right. And we're still the first and only in a lot of our work situations. We're the first Black person or the only Black person on the team. So we are alone and it does get lonely.
Yeah, yeah, I agree with that. So, as an award-winning coach and philanthropist, I always struggle with that word. I don't know why I don't, it just doesn't roll off my tongue. But you have a strong focus on empowerment and community service. So, how do you integrate these values into your coaching practice and your philanthropic endeavors?
Well, in 2017, I established a scholarship fund at my undergraduate alma mater, which is Drexel University. And the scholarship supports African American students studying technology. And I'm proud to say that since the inception of the scholarship, between my personal contributions and the generosity of friends and family and other donors, I've awarded over $120,000 in scholarships to deserving students at Drexel University. So that's one of the ways
That's
that I'm
awesome.
giving back.
Yeah, that's
And
huge. That's
in
huge.
2020, I started a similar scholarship at my graduate alma mater, LaSalle University. So I'm also supporting undergraduate and graduate students at LaSalle University. And within my coaching practice this year, I plan to establish a pro bono
Mhm.
component to support women in technology with free coaching services.
I love that. That definitely is community impact, giving back. Because everyone, I mean, we do have to eat, right? So at
Yes,
some level, you have to charge for your services, but finding
absolutely.
that you can have a component of your business just allows you to now serve people who may not be able to afford your services is a blessing.
It is. It is. And I've also
A
been very
blessing.
fortunate in that some of the organizations that I've supported, I've actually been able to coach with some nonprofit organizations that support Black professionals in the tech industry. So it's really rewarding to be able to align myself with organizations that align with my personal mission and values.
Yeah, it is. I love that. I like the way you have aligned everything, kind of your passion, being able to give back to not only your alma mater, but also the community that you live in, the Washington, D.C. area. So
Yeah.
that, and then I'm assuming that you do a lot of your coaching, and this is either virtually or hybrid. Do you go into the office to talk to the women, or you basically do a virtual thing?
A lot of my work has been virtual outside of
Mhm.
doing coaching at various conferences that I've attended.
Gotcha. Awesome. I love that. So how do you balance it all? How do you balance the intuition, strategic guidance in your coaching process? How do you do that? I mean, you got a lot going on. You got a
Mhm,
blessing of having an opportunity to go in and share and coach women. And
mhm.
you're going to tell us about your attire in a minute. And then also other things and other initiatives you have going on. So how do you balance that?
Just being really real realistic with myself. One thing that I've started doing in this new entrepreneur space is, planning out my year. So I definitely am intentional about building rest into
Right.
my schedule. So once a quarter, I block out a week just to do whatever, whether it's me going away somewhere or doing absolutely nothing. I'm also very intentional about maintaining relationships with my friends and family. So again, scheduling out that time to
Mhm.
be, fueled by them and just finding time to do the things that I enjoy.
Yeah, living life instead of
Yeah.
what did they say? Instead of living to work, you're working to live, right?
Yes,
As
yes.
opposed
YOLO
to,
is my motto. You only live once, so I try to live my dash to the fullest.
I love that. Yes, pull it up, pull it up. So tell us a little bit about your podcast. I'm excited about that. The Fearlessly Leading Our Way Flow podcast. Where did the idea come from to amplify the voices of Black women leaders? I love that.
Yeah. Well, first, I'm a huge fan of doing vision boards, and I've been doing them
Mhm.
since 2016, I believe. And
Mhm.
recently, I started incorporating a word of the year into
Mhm.
my vision boards. And at the beginning of 2023, I remember I was on Pinterest. I'm a huge Pinterest fan. I have like a Pinterest board with over like 13,000, quotes and affirmations.
Right, right.
And I saw this pin come up that said, when it's God, it flows. When it's you,
Mm,
it's forced. And
yeah.
when I reflected on like the last year of my life working in corporate America, I realized and recognized that I was forcing myself to try to stay in a situation where God no longer intended me to be.
Yeah.
I I was applying for internal jobs. I applied for 10
Hmm.
internal jobs in under 1 year and
Yeah.
got not one of those 10 jobs. I also applied for some external opportunities and got not one of those jobs. And when
Mhm.
I took the leap and made the pivot into my business full time, I saw some opportunities that start flowing to me. So for me, that was confirmation that I'm truly aligned with the work God has planned for my life.
Awesome. I love that. And I love that you are standing on the word of God in your faith as you
I'm
move
walking
into
by
this
faith every
space.
single day.
Right. And all entrepreneurs should, we're kingdom building entrepreneurs, right? In the
Yes.
sense that you have to walk by faith. It's that's all, that's really what it is walking by faith and trusting and believing. So I love that. So you also well, why don't you tell us about your attire before we jump into any other questions? Because I want the audience to understand why you have on your crown, why you have on your sash.
Well, I am competing in the Miss Corporate America competition, and this competition highlights the achievements of professional women leaders who are innovators and influencers in their respective fields of business. And my current title is Miss Northwest Washington, D.C. So I'm representing my hometown of Washington, D.C.
I love that.
And the competition will take place in June in Orlando, Florida, June 20th through the 22nd. So the overall winner will be determined by a panel of judges. But there
Mhm.
is a People's Choice category, and I'm currently number 1 in the People's Choice category.
Awesome. Congratulations.
Thank you. So
That's
if your
wonderful.
listeners would like to support me, they can visit bit.ly MSNWDC to cast their vote for me for People's Choice.
I love it. That's so good. Well, I voted for you because you sent it over and I did vote.
Thank you. I appreciate
So,
your support.
absolutely. So your program, Accelerate Her, is it Celebrate Her? Is that, am I
Yeah, celebrate
pronouncing
her.
that?
Yes.
Okay. Focuses on increasing the representation of Black women in the tech sector. So how do you leverage your background and expertise to advocate for diversity and inclusion in the technology industry through that coaching practice, through the
Well,
Accelerate?
yeah.
Mhm.
First and foremost, my lived experience. I just want to share some statistics with you.
Yeah.
56% of mid-career women in technology are leaving the
Mm,
industry. And
mm,
right now, Black women make up only 2.2% of the industry. And previously, that number was 3%. It had been flat at 3% for years. But now, with the pandemic and all the mass layoffs, that
mm,
number has dipped to 2.2%. So,
mm.
despite the push or the call to get more women and Black women in technology, we aren't seeing a shift or change in the numbers. And that's for a variety of reasons. As I shared in my career, I didn't have mentors, let alone sponsors. I didn't
Right.
have access to coaching. I was working for unsupported managers and
Mm-hmm.
working in toxic environments. And so those are some of the issues that we need to address. Also, pay equity is a major issue. There was data that came out last year that said it will take 100 years for Black women to reach pay equity in the United States.
That's so sad. Just
It
hearing you
is.
say that, my heart dropped. I was like, really? And we are some of the most innovative, amazing people on the planet, right?
Yes.
And so when I hear you say that, and knowing that I'm a woman in tech and some of the challenges I've had to navigate through the landscape of corporate, I always wanted to reach back and help women in general across the board because it's hard enough, you stepping into a position where you don't have the support, and then you don't reach back and try to help other people. That to me, that perpetuates the struggle. So I
Yes.
always looked at how could I help others, even though I may not be where I want to be yet, but they're not where they want to be. So let's help each other. Let me reach back.
Absolutely.
And that mentorship,
Absolutely.
yeah, it's so
I
important.
believe in lifting while I climb. I may not be there yet, but I definitely want to help the
Right.
person coming behind me and make it a better place for when they do get there.
Absolutely. I love that. So what is one piece of advice that you would love to give to Black women in tech who may be struggling to navigate the corporate landscape?
First and foremost, I would say you are worthy. You deserve to be there. I know a lot of women may feel uncomfortable being that first or that only, or there may be a sense of intimidation. But
Mm-hmm.
I remember Michelle Obama shared this when she was doing her tour for her book. She said
Mm-hmm.
she sat at tables with some people that were not intelligent. And I've worked for
I
people or
remember
managers
that.
that were not intelligent. I had more
Mhm.
skills and qualifications than they
Yes.
did, but they were in the leadership positions. But when I would apply for those leadership positions, was told I didn't meet the qualifications or the competencies for the position. But they
Right.
didn't have the competencies themselves, but they're sitting in the role.
Right.
So you are
Right.
worthy of being there.
Yeah, I love that. That's so good. And to not only be worthy, but to continue to excel. Because what happens, and you know this to be true, because it does affect your confidence when you're in an
Yeah.
environment like that and you're by yourself, you can't talk to anybody, and you're trying to do the best work you can to shine brightest you can, and you don't have that leverage to be able to speak to anyone or go anywhere. So you got to learn how to navigate by yourself and not have anybody to reach up on or talk to. That's one of the hardest things. I'm speaking from my own experience.
Okay.
And being able to be in that position was very frustrating. And it could affect your confidence. And it did affect my confidence because I would find myself second guessing myself.
Yes, yes, I've
Yeah.
been there as well, and I think one of the ways we combat that is to find our community, whether it's
You do.
community,
Yeah.
professional organizations, finding those mentors and hopefully sponsors, working with a coach. It's important to find your community to get
Right.
that support and encouragement you need to build yourself up. I remember when I was going through one of my situations at work and I was starting to doubt myself and, have
Mhm.
that dip in my confidence. It was one of my friends in my circle that said, I see you. I see all the work that you're doing,
Right.
and I see the amazing things that you're doing outside of work. It's not you, it's your environment. So hearing
Yeah.
that from her
Mhm.
was definitely encouraging to me when I was starting to doubt myself.
Yeah, because that self-doubt, what it does is, and you're trying to look for another role, right? So either internally or outside.
Mhm.
It's hard to do it because you're already doubting yourself. So it's like, well, now you're trying to apply for a role and you're looking at the requirements on the role and you're internally doubting yourself. So it's like a
Mhm.
catch 22. It's like, well, how do what is the next?
Right.
So having
Yeah.
that mindset shift, which I'm sure you're giving your clients, like with me, I'm a master mindset coach. So I'm always working with women about thinking about what you think about, right? And how
Yes.
you're managing
Yes.
it. But I think what I found for myself was I created something, and I'm sure you have something similar, may not be called the same thing, but like a confidence resume, right?
Mhm.
Everything amazing you ever done, everything that you
Yes.
poured
Yep.
out. And that way, when you're feeling a little down, a little low, you just whip that thing out and start reading through how amazing you are.
Yes.
And that
Yep.
helps so much. That helps you so much. So I want you to be able to share your information with the audience, your website or email. So if women would like to further the conversation with you, that would be amazing if you could share that.
Yes. I would love to stay connected. So you can visit me on the web at AngelaVHarris.com. I'm on Instagram at Coach Angela V. Harris. I'm also very active on LinkedIn at Angela V. Harris. And again, if you want to give me your support for your People's Choice vote for Miss Corporate America, you can visit bit.ly
Mhm.
slash MSNWDC.
Awesome. And we'll also put that in the show notes, Angela, so folks can grab it. Said, and with you being a woman of faith, a business owner, educator, and a coach, so what's next for Angela?
I'm that dream big type of person. So
Mhm.
honestly, I feel like the sky's the limit. I can't say for sure what's next. I'm completely open and I'll just go with the flow.
I love that. And then you said go with the flow, and that's the name of your podcast, Flow.
Yeah.
So that's good. You could really promote that like that too. I love it. So Angela, it has been a pleasure having you on the show today. And I want to thank you for taking the time out of your busy schedule to share your wisdom and expertise with us.
Well, thank you so much for having me. And I really enjoyed our conversation.
You're welcome. And you are truly inspiring and empowering Black women and impacting the world around you. So keep doing what you're doing. You got my vote for
Thank
sure.
you. Thank
So
you.
thank you. And as we wrap up the show, if you've enjoyed our time together, please remember to like, subscribe, and share this podcast with a friend. You can connect with me on voice. You can email me at voemetoday@gmail.com. And you can learn more about our services and resources at voicesoфencouragement.com as we are empowering minds and transforming lives. Remember, be bold, be true, be kind, be you. And until we meet again, Ephesians 4:1, walk worthy of the call for which you were called.